Hey, it's Aviv. I'm on the NICHOLS podcast. Come and join us. We're going to talk about everything today.
We are back
on the NICHOLS podcast with a big fettuccine.
What's up, guys?
More importantly, a very special guest.
Very special.
And I'm just going to say Aviv because I'm not sure I know how to pronounce your last name.
That's perfect.
And I don't. Maybe you don't want your last name out there. I don't know.
Not after this episode.
Yeah, honestly, I got to say, this was one of the more disturbing episodes I've ever seen.
That's a good way to put it.
It starts out featuring Kara's bunions. Then we got to watch Johnny basically have a foot fetish obsession. Right. Mm-hmm. Then we got to watch his weird fucking Lamaze class in Tori's room. Yeah. It just was a very strange. And then Footsie Gate.
Whoever edited this episode, like whoever stamped it, like this is good to go. Y'all weird.
Well,
you are weird.
What I have to say though is Johnny's not alone. There's several challengers that like feet. I'm one of them.
I don't get it. Oh, you are?
You sign up for that?
Oh,
here's the
this
thing
is
with,
even more fun now.
Here's the thing about feet for me. A foot won't turn me on, but a foot will definitely turn me off. If a girl has gross, uncared for feet,
unkept,
yeah.
What else is unkept is my first thought. Secondly, I just don't like. So I hope she doesn't watch the podcast, but there's a girl in high school, beautiful. Not going to tell her name because you know her.
Afterwards, tell me.
Yeah, and she was gorgeous. And the day I was going to ask her to homecoming, she wore sandals, and the gap between her big toe and her second toe was this big.
Shit,
and
you dodged that bullet.
I bailed, and I didn't ask her. And everyone was telling her, like, I think he's going to ask you. I think he's. My mom might have even told her mom that, and then I didn't do it, and it was like a huge deal. But so feet,
you bailed.
Feet, I bailed hard. I was like, can't do that. So feet don't turn me on, but they definitely will turn me off.
Understand?
Yeah, girls should have nice, cute feet.
Vouch though that everyone on the challenge has disgusting feet, especially by this point in the game. So,
especially when you're doing challenges without shoes,
and without plantar fascia at this point.
There you go.
But I get that. I did a challenge without my shoes one time. Oof. Same thing. It was on Free Agents. We had this huge. I'm just gonna say a swamp, but they said it was a pond. And it got no deeper than chest deep. But when you stepped in, there was had to be a foot of muck and sludge. And as soon as I stepped in, both shoes came off my feet. But I get it because you're in go mode and you're like, listen, I made it this far in the game. I'm not stopping to put my shoes on. Right. So I finished the whole thing without my shoes. So I get that 100%. There's no if you don't need them, there's no reason to stop and put
it
them
would have
back
been
on.
nice.
Really?
It would have been nice, especially because I had no support in my foot.
That's
So
true.
my only support at that point, I was actually wearing my shoes and not the sponsored shoes because I needed the support. Here was the mistake I made. First of all, I found out later because in retrospect, when you're looking back, I'm a fucking idiot. I didn't even have to go through the mud pit, number one. Number two, I went through it first, which wasn't even my plan. I was so in my head. And then
But you didn't know there was mud there.
I knew there was mud, but here's the thing. I have not been doing the challenge for years. So everyone else is when they get to the mud pits and they're like, oh, there's a strategy. You don't actually go in the mud. You go around the mud. So I'm the idiot and I'm short. I mean, I didn't know the mud was going to come to my waist.
Yeah.
But the minute I turned around to pick up my shoe and I saw it was fuck this.
Goner, yeah.
I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Corey obviously didn't get that memo either.
Yeah, hey, he's done some seasons.
Yeah, he should have gotten that.
He's done a few.
He was way Steve. He didn't even try. And then there's Jordan parkouring. He's an incredible human. We just have to reiterate
He was doing the NFL street, just running on the walls. Just
he's insane.
Yeah. He's in a league of his own.
He really is. He is. Unless you're golfing against him, of course.
You even gave him a second chance.
I'm not going to ever. I'm never going to play Jordan.
At this point, I think it'd be a third chance, to be honest.
Boy, I did beat him twice, but the second time we can't even talk about because he played. His girlfriend was with him.
Yeah,
and he played so bad.
Did she win?
What?
Did she win?
She took a couple swings, but she didn't really play. She was just riding along with him.
Yeah, she was chilling.
But he came to beat me that day for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of the get back, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, and I beat him by whole 8.
Oof.
He was devastated.
We're playing for funsies on the back nine.
I will continue to talk shit about that and never give him another chance to go against me.
Don't worry, he's practicing every day.
I know.
All day, every day.
I guarantee you the next time if it ever does happen, he'll beat me by like 10 strokes.
It might be soon.
Yeah, this episode was definitely a weird one.
It sure was.
Entertainingly weird, though.
It sure was. Well, real quick, first of all, thank you so much for coming. Normally we do a little bit of accolades. Yours are short, but they are spectacular. You're 100% winner. We got 1 season, 1 title. Round of applause for the challenge champion.
Thank you.
Aviv in the house. How does it feel being 100%? You show up, you win.
There's just a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. Well, we're so excited to have you here. Let's start at the top of this episode. We come back from Johnny's elimination to find him, poking the fire with Michelle and Josh in the kitchen. Very interesting. To this point, you've been branded as one of Bananas Angels. Can you tell us like how that came about? Like how did that happen?
Who officially came up with that nickname? Because it has taken a mind of its own.
Rachel, but by the way, branding genius. Like at the time, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. But Rachel said it in one of her interviews, and she came back and she thought it was like hilarious. And we're sitting there and we're like, oh my God, here we go. Because the minute it got within our little circle, sure, funny. But once it got out, and you know how Johnny is, and Johnny, of course, like he did not need that.
He thought it was the coolest thing, huh?
And yes.
Listen.
And now it's like,
people are walking around the house from other alliances being like, oh, well, you're one of the angels.
I know.
It has literally taken a mind of its own. And Johnny loves it.
Of course he does. We have a t-shirt. He just gave me a t-shirt that says Bananas Angels. Well, Rachel and I were wearing it the other day.
You know how it goes. If something has legs, it finds its way around the house.
For sure.
So what do you think? Like, Johnny's a mass. Like, he's like the challenge little brother.
Uh-huh.
I'm a brother too, and it's like you live to annoy your sister.
Yep.
He has one of his best skills in life is literally poking the bear. So what, like, not you haven't been on that side of it, but what do you think about someone in your alliance constantly doing that? Does it make you feel bad for the people he's doing it to, or is it because there's also a point in the game and where things go from pretty much like summer camp to extremely toxic? We're there. We're in the thick of the toxicity.
We're there. This is the episode. It's a good thing I didn't come last month when I was supposed to, because
this
is a much better episode.
Johnny thrives, and he's not uncomfortable in the toxicity where it really bothers a lot of people.
Yep.
So what do you think about him just constantly digging on the people in other alliances?
Listen, I waited as long as I could, and I didn't make the public service announcement that I was aligned with him. Rachel did that for all of us.
Yeah, you sure didn't.
I think there are times, he's funny. And if you can appreciate that side of him and take it for what it is, unfortunately, most people in the game at some point or another are getting stressed out and emotional. And he doesn't know when to stop poking. And frankly, he doesn't care. And like you said, those are the moments where he thrives because there's some enjoyment that he gets, right? A lot of enjoyment that he gets in seeing that reaction, right? And seeing someone go from emotionally semi-stable to emotionally clearly very unstable. There were times that it was funny, and there were times where he definitely crossed the line. And, that's one part in the episode when I talked to Michelle and Olivia afterwards. And I said, listen, like, I stuck up for you guys. Like, there were things that he said that were not necessary. And things like when you're starting to take people on their relationships and things that may be personal to them, and potentially go outside the game, like there's a point where you see how they're reacting, like back up a little bit. But that's the part of him that I don't have that, so I don't get that. I don't know. There's other people in the house that do the same thing. Right back.
I was definitely one of those people. I like to do that too.
Yeah, he's made a career and made a lot of money stoking the fire. But I enjoy it. I enjoy watching it. It's probably not mentally.
You've never so it's different when you're watching it, but like I can put myself in that house and you just know like the tension is so high. Like it always gets to that point. Because there's really no, like, when people have places to hide and there's throwaway votes and there's people that you're like, I don't really care if they go home. It's one thing. But we're now at the point where every vote, every move is a big deal and it matters. And that's when it gets really personal. And people have a very difficult time separating emotions from game.
Correct.
Like even just like it's so frustrating for me is when people are like crying because they have to go into an elimination round against
What did you think
their
was
best
gonna
friend.
happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You knew what game you were playing. You knew coming in here. It's either you and Olivia cannot
Right.
take the money home together.
Right.
And because you're so close, people are gonna target you for
Yeah.
that. So don't cry about it. It's not like you're never gonna see him again. But
Right.
people get in that like game mode where like nothing else matters.
I know.
And I think that Johnny also does not like. It's funny because like him and Michelle were such good friends for a long time, but he is like scorched earth on her.
I love how he takes an inkling of truth and then will like shove it down
Yeah.
your throat. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Sprinkle. He
hysterical.
does this thing really well.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm gonna see what happens.
Let me season the steak.
Yeah.
So how did you get aligned with him and how did that start? How did you become an
I don't know
angel?
what happened.
That concludes the free preview of the Zach Nichols podcast.
So go to Patreon and subscribe to see the rest of the shit that we talk.
Go do it now.